back in June, the Supreme Court made a 6-3 ruling where, in the case of New York State Rifle and Pistol Association Incorporated versus Bruin, that the proper cause in trying to obtain and concealed carry permit within the state of New York is unconstitutional. This, in effect, made every single state that currently is not a constitutional carry state to become a shall issue state. Basically, you have to do certain requirements, such as maybe pay $50 in order to obtain a concealed carry permit if you're in a shall issue state. One of them being here, the state of Washington. But if you were to go to nearby Idaho, that's a concealed carry state, or well, a constitutional carry state, and you would need to deal with that. But despite the situation in regards to the Supreme Court's ruling in that regard, states like New York, California, and a few others have gone so far to have passed new restrictions in order to prevent actual citizens from not only obtaining a concealed carry permit, but from actually practicing it. I'm reading from an article from NPR. New York law that bars carrying guns in Times Square and other areas goes into effect. Amid the bright lights and electronic billboards of New York's Times Square, city authorities are posting signs proclaiming the bustling crossroads of a gun-free zone. The sprawling Manhattan tourist attraction is one of scores of sensitive places, including parks, churches, and theaters that will be off limits for guns under the sweeping new state law going into effect Thursday. That would be yesterday, as I'm making this video on September 2nd, 2022. The measure, passed after a U.S. Supreme Court decision in June expanding gun rights, also sets stringent standards for issuing concealed carry permits. And this is a major issue because the authorities, by the laws of the state government of New York, are basically setting up areas where it says gun-free zones. So, as a means of trying to prevent people, actual citizens, from practicing their right to conceal carry, to bear arms. And that is a major problem, especially in regards to the fact that criminals are not going to care. There will still be shootings in gun-free zones. Do you honestly think that they're going to care about the law? No! It's going to happen either way. It's usually the citizens are the ones that are concerned about following the law. Problem is, this law is preventing them from being able to have a firearm or to conceal carry in the case that they are attacked. And considering that it's New York City, well, a lot of crime happens there. But that's not all, because this same law established new requirements in order to obtain a concealed carry permit in the state of New York. Let me look up here. Okay. Under the law, applicants for a concealed carry permit will have to complete 16 hours of classroom training and 2 hours of live fire exercises. Ordinary citizens would be prohibited from bringing guns to schools, churches, subways, theaters, and amusement parks, and among other places deemed sensitive by authorities. Again, why the heck should I trust the authorities who are being very restrictive on practicing concealed carry, especially when you actually have a permit in that state? But there's more, and this is probably the biggest problem I have with this new law. Applicants will also have to provide a list of social media accounts for the past 3 years as part of a character and conduct review. The requirement was added because shooters have sometimes dropped hints of violence online before they opened fire on people. Funny how they mentioned that, because it's as though they're trying to look into your personal life to see if you have any motives of shooting people, and yet this is coming from a state that not only has so much gun crime, but despite the fact that it has so many gun control laws, even in spite of New York v. Bruin, in spite of that, there's still shootings going on, especially with what happened in Buffalo City, or well, in Buffalo, New York. And of course, the mayor said, we need more gun control. Despite the fact that the shooter himself actually said that the reason he targeted Buffalo was because of gun control. Funny how that works out. Besides, wouldn't this have a problem with not only the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment? Isn't there not only a proper procedure, but why are they looking into tweets and accounts when these people are not being charged with a crime? Why? That seems to be a major problem, and yet they're treating ordinary citizens that just want this concealed carry permit as actual wanted criminals. Of course, it's just meant to completely backlog a lot of citizens from actually owning concealed carry. All in the name of safety, of course. But as we all know, that's not really the truth. This is just politics and trying to restrict the Second Amendment as much as possible in their own respective states. It's gotten so these requirements have caused so many police stations that are trying to issue permits to backlog as a result, to the point where it used to be 1 to 2 hours of looking into a person's backlog to obtain a permit, to being 4 hours to do that. Here to continue on. Sheriffs in some upstate counties said the additional work for their investigators could add existing backlogs in processing applications. In Rochester, Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter said it currently takes 2 to 4 hours to perform a pistol permit background check on a clean candidate. He estimated the new law will add another 1 to 3 hours for each permit. The county has about 600 pending pistol permits. 600. Between 2 to 4 hours, I'm going to go to do the latter of 4 hours currently for a clean candidate pistol permit before the law. That would be at most 3 to 4 people managing to get a permit per day. With this new law, cut that in half. Again, it's just meant to be much more of a hassle in order to obtain a permit. But again, it's just causing so many problems. It's causing so many problems with the police right now, just trying to obtain it. In fact, in regards to the 3 years worth of social media that needs to be presented as a result of this requirement, police are actually having a problem with this because of not only the backlog, just the fact that there's so much of that. They don't want to go through all this. In fact, it says 3 years worth of your social media. We're not going to print out 3 years of social media posts by everybody. If you look at my Facebook, I send out 6 to 10 things a day, said the sheriff, a former district attorney, and judge. Exactly! That's the problem. There's no way that this is going to work. The list of prohibited spaces for carrying guns has drawn criticism from advocates who say it's so extensive it will make it difficult for people with permits to move about in public. People carrying a gun could go into private businesses only with permission, such as a sign posted onto the window. And New York is not the only one that's been trying to make new restrictions for gun control. Here we have situations like here in Massachusetts. Here on the NPR, it says, earlier this month, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker signed into law a measure requiring gun permit applications to undergo personal interviews with a licensing authority. New Jersey required people to get training before receiving a permit and would make new residents register guns they breed from out of state. Hawaii, which has the nation's lowest number of gun deaths, is still weighing its options. Since the Supreme Court's ruling, the state has granted only 1 new gun permit. I wouldn't be surprised if Hawaii has one of the most stringent gun control laws, but I'm not looking into Hawaii too much. But I do know that as a result of the Supreme Court decision, the states like California and of course New York have been trying to issue new laws in order to prevent people from being concealed carry. In all honesty, though, considering what kind of requirements are going on, like the personal interview in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, or even the 3 years of social media posts in New York, I'm willing to bet that in the future, this would actually get litigated through court. Someone will feel that their rights are being violated, that their personal privacy is being violated because, of course, of this new rule of the 3 years of social media posts, especially when they're not charged with crime. And I would not be surprised if it goes to the Supreme Court and they rule in favor that these new laws are unconstitutional. In fact, this would probably lead to a future road of constitutional carry. Six Examiner has actually mentioned this before, especially prior to the Bruin case. But these new laws, I would not be surprised if it does lay the groundwork for such future lawsuits, a future Supreme Court case that eventually makes the all other states into actual constitutional carry states by default. I can't wait for that to happen, but that's just in the future. My name is Noah Meehan on The Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Also, if you have any issues in regards to my videos, such as how I speak, or quality of my videos, or like the imagery or whatever, please post them down in the comment section down below, or directly message me. Thank you.
Almost head.